I started working when I was 19. I met my teacher who helped turn my life around when I was 25. That's 6 years. At the end of the first 6 years of my economic life, I've got pennies in my pocket. I've got nothing in the bank. The creditors are calling saying, hey, you told us the check was in the mail. I'm embarrassed. I'm behind on my promise. I live in America. I'm 25-year-old American male. I got a nice family, every reason to do well. And I'm messed up. Now, what's messed up? I used to think it was the community that was messed up. Country was messed up. And the government was messed up. If those Democrats ever get in the White House, that'll really mess things up. If the Republicans stay in power, that'll really mess things up. The economy was messed up. Interest rates are messed up. I thought all this stuff was messed up. Then I found out that's not what was messed up. I was criticizing the only thing I had to work with. What was really messed up was my own personal philosophy. My own errors in judgment in my own personal philosophy brought me in 6 years to pennies in my pocket, nothing in the bank, and trying to explain why I wasn't doing well living in America, 25-year-old American male, got a family, every reason to do well. Now, once I understood this, here's the formula for failure: errors in judgment, being lax about developing your own personal philosophy. I'm telling you, it's called accumulated disaster. Doesn't matter whether it's your health or your bank account. Guy's got an empty bank account, probably has high cholesterol. Why? Over the last 6 years, he never paid attention to either one. And it doesn't matter whether it's a dollar, or whether it's your money, or whether it's your cholesterol count. All you got to do is commit the errors, and just because disaster doesn't fall on you at the end of the first day that you don't eat an apple. You say, well, I didn't eat an apple today, and tonight I'm not ill. Well, you got to be brighter than that. Someday you got to leave first grade. The reason we make those first grade desks so small so they won't fit at age 25, right? You don't belong here anymore. Come on. Now let me give you the secret to success. Formula for failure. A few errors in judgment repeated every day for 1 month starts the week, starts the disaster process. You can imagine what happens. Now here's the formula for success. A few simple, disciplined practice every day. You've started a whole new process called a whole new life. Simple, disciplined practice every day. And if you decide today to go for the apple instead of the Hershey bar, I'm telling you, you have begun the process of turning your life. And if you keep up that process, not only with your health habits, but with your money habits, with your communication habits, with your sales habits, management habits, and every other habit that you got, if you'll start that process, eliminate the errors and replace it with disciplined practice, telling you can start this process of life change immediately. After today, you don't ever have to be the same again. Only by choice. You don't have to walk out of here the same as you walked in. Only by choice. You can start a whole new process. You say, well, Mr. Rohn, is it that simple? Yes, it's that simple. Where else would you start but with an apple? You don't have to start with something staggering. What if you should be walking around the block for your good health and you don't? What'll that do in 6 years? I'm telling you, the word is disaster. You could and you should and you don't. Here's an even stronger word. You won't. I mean, don't might mean you're careless. Won't probably means you're stubborn. And either one's called disaster. Could, should, don't. I'm telling you, that's why at the end of 6 years, I found myself with pennies in my pocket, nothing in the bank, creditors calling.
Here's the other thing. Let us say together, it's possible. It's necessary. It's me. Yes, write that down. It's me. Take ownership for your life. Nobody can live your dream for you but you. Nobody's going to take care of your business like you. Stop coming up with excuses. Don't give yourself permission to continue to live a small life. You can't fit a big dream into a small life. Give yourself permission to go for it, to test yourself, to challenge yourself, to live full. Like the saying, always strive to get on top in life because it's the bottom that's overcrowded. The reason you're here is because there's something in you that says, I can do more. This just can't be it. There's something in you. There's a calling on your life. There's something in your heart that caused you to get dressed and spend the money to go to seminar after seminar and listen to message after message and speaker after speaker, because there's something in you that tells you this is not it for you. You have not peaked here. There's more in you that you are expressing. Eye has not seen, ear has not heard, nor has entered the heart of mankind what's in store for you if you challenge yourself, if you persist and persevere, if you take ownership for your life. George Bernard Shaw said the people that make it in this life, they look around for the circumstances that they want, and if they can't find them, they create them. Create what you want. You have the power in you to do the more than you can ever begin to imagine, to control your destiny, to make a difference in our children, to make a difference on the planet, to make an impact. Let us say together, it's me. Let us say together, it's hard. Say it like you know it. Say it's hard. Ladies and gentlemen, it's hard. There are people who have seen their retirements taken away from them by the corporations that they work for. They were within 2 or 3 years of retiring, and they had it taken from them. The number one entrepreneurs in this country now are senior citizens. The number one employer, number 2, McDonald's and Walmart. And there's nothing wrong with those jobs. I guarantee you those people did not have a plan to end up living their lives at the end of life with those types of jobs. And they didn't have a plan like you have, and while you're investing in yourself, not to. And it's hard. There are people making choices between purchasing prescription drugs or paying for gas or a mortgage note. It's hard when you're working on a job for 20 years, 30 years. Give them some good years, and then they come in and tell you, we've downsized. In other words, you're fired. And then you have to start all over again. How many of you know it's hard? Raise your hands, please.
You have to resolve yourself today that you're going to win in business, that you're going to dominate, that you're not average and ordinary. There has to become a point where you make a decision. We're going to dominate. We're here to win. We are not here to play. And you got to have a company that decides it's going to win. And that takes some intestinal fortitude. It takes a decision, and it takes you being evangelical about your cause. So you can get all these emotions you want, but as a man, you still got to win. To be what you're worth, you still got to win, right? And that's what I want you to get out of today. You got to decide you're going to win. If you're going to win in your family, you're going to win in your personal life. I'm where I'm at because I just flat decided I'm going to be a player. I just decided it. I'm not special. I come from a Velcroed Mercedes. I come from a dysfunctional family, but I decided at some point I get to choose who I am. The world doesn't tell me who I am. I'm not that small, introverted athlete with an alcoholic dad with no confidence. I write these chapters. Me and God write chapters. I got the best co-author on the planet. He made me and you in his image and likeness. He made you to do something great with your life. That's no BS. Too many of us forget this. Too many of us forget where we come from. We come from greatness, the DNA of the King of Kings. I don't even care if you're a person of faith. Trust me, you should have some. The only explanation for where I am is there must be an amazing God in heaven who's blessing me on a regular basis, who loves me and you, by the way, in spite of all the stupid sins we make, because you know you made a bunch of them. And what you think is all this crap you've done wrong, maybe even while you've been here on this trip, disqualifies you from winning. God takes dudes like me and dudes like you and women like you, and we change the freaking world. That's what he does. And he takes a guy like my son who will outwork you. He's a sweetheart. He's a good boy. He's a Christian boy. He's not just trying to flex all the time. He'll just outwork you. He got that scholarship because before school every day at 5:30, our golf course set up the balls because they know Max goes before school. Then he stays till dark after school. That's why he won. And I think he modeled some of that from his old man. You got to look at how much you're working. You got to work at the effort you're making. You got to put the intention you're putting out there. You think it's easy to go make hundreds of millions of dollars? What a joke someone's convincing you of that. It's relentlessness, man. It's crazy. It's pushing past barriers. It's every time you get somewhere, it's wanting to go to the next level. It's also something, write this down, that I teach all my athletes called equanimity. Equanimity is peace under duress. Being able to find peace under duress, meaning this, it's easy to walk around and say, I'm going to be a peaceful dude, right? Or to create duress. But can you find the emotional control to be at your best under the highest stress level?
You've all seen this book I got out in this video called Jump. Oh, I jumped. Now, I don't recommend that you do it that way, because 2 years later I was homeless. Because the first year of comedy I made $3,400. The next year I made $4,800. And the third year I made $5,100. I got a wife, a set of twins. I'm sending every dollar I got to them. So I tried to live on $50, $75 gas, 38 cents a gallon back then. I just stayed in my car. So I lived in my car for 3 years. 3 years I lived in my car. And what happened was, I just said, man, so I used to fish all the time to eat, because I'm a fisherman, bass fisherman. So I used to stop at lakes and ponds, just fish. And every night, every month, I could run off somebody's land. Hey, get away from here. Hey, move along, that's not yours. Hey, stop fishing here. I just get run off. And he didn't understand. And one time I had fish on the line. They said, you got fish on that line? I said, yeah. Throw them back. I had to throw them back, because I used to stop at rest areas with them little cast iron grills. I kept charcoal in my car. I started a fire and I eat fish. There's some days I wouldn't eat. So that they thought I was just fishing, but I was eating. So I said one day, I said, man, you know what? One day, man, I'm gonna give myself myself some land. I'm buy myself a piece of dirt. So fast forward, God bless me. I get on TV when I'm 38. I'm on Showtime at the Apollo. Lord have mercy. They gave me my money. I saved my money up. I saved $250,000. I said, I'm going to give me some land. I went to Texas and I'm about to buy some land. But before I went to buy the land, I was curious. I just had the thought. I said, man, I wonder how much land is on earth? How many acres is on earth? Because you know it's not going to change. You know, God lets you fly. God lets you dive on the water. God don't let you make dirt. Can't make dirt. So I looked it up. It's roughly over, just a little bit over, 36 billion acres of land. 36 billion acres of land. So I just got a little bit more curious. And I said, well, how many people on earth? I looked it up, and it was about 6 billion people on earth. So I did some Steve Harvey thinking. I said, okay, if it's 36 billion acres of land, and it's about 6 billion people on earth, everybody ought to have 6 acres of land. Not just me. You know, I just think. So I asked God, could I have 6 acres? That's all I wanted. Because you know the one thing I wanted? I didn't care if I put a house on it or nothing. I just wanted to be a stand somewhere and couldn't nobody run me off. I just wanted. You know, man, I was in a world of hurt. I was so sick of just getting run off every time I stopped. Got this money, man. I saved my money. I saved $200,000. I'm going and I'm looking for some land. First day I see a piece of land in Texas, so beautiful. I couldn't have rolling hills, had a pond on it where I could fish. A dude took me over there. I look at the land and I'm looking out. I said, man, this is great right here. I said, sir, how much is this right here? He said, well, it's about $600,000. Man, I ain't got that kind of money. He said, well, how much do you have? I said, I got $250,000. I said, well, let me think about it. He said, let me think about it. And I was standing there, and then I stopped. I said, sir, can I ask you a question? How many acres of land is that? He said, this is 6 acres. 6 years ago, I just asked God, just give me 6. See, I didn't want a whole lot of it. I just wanted my cut. Just give me my 6. And so I said, ain't this crazy? So I thought about it. What could work out? Right before I got ready to say it, the guy that took me over there said, Steve, let me show you. Took me over this hilltop. Took me over this hillbilly house named Jerry Campbell. Now, I don't really care for hillbilly because, you know, we don't, I just, you know, when your voice, I believe and I don't laugh. When I hear that, me and you probably ain't gonna work out. I'm from Cleveland. I do things. I don't want trouble. I met this hill. I was a little nervous about meeting him, man, because I ain't like the way he talked, but mess around. Turned out to be one of the finest men I ever met in my life. Became a father figure to me. Old white. He took me to his house. He said, let me show you. He took me over and showed me this land, and it was massive. It had 3 lakes on it. It had rolling hills. It had trees. It was unbelievable, man. I said, man, this is incredible. I said, man, how much is this? He said, this 16 acres. I said, hey, man, I ain't got that kind of money. Let me go on back over here to this dude where Mike can cut a deal. He said, well, let me ask you something. What was you going to give that man over there? I said, well, I hadn't worked it out yet because all I got is $250,000. He said, well, listen, I'm in a little bit of a tight right now. Said, if you can bring me $250,000 cash by tomorrow, I'll give you this 16 acres. I showed up next day, $250,000. 16 acres. See, that's grace and favor right there. That's what that is. So my first piece of land was 250 acres. So I said, man, this is the land that I'm going to save for my family. I'm going to fish on the rest of my life. I'm going to be an old man. So then I got to thinking, I said, hold up, man. You mean you have not because you asked now? I asked for 6 years ago. He showed me 6, but he gave me 16. So I went to God. I said, God, listen to this. I'm from Cleveland. I got a couple partners that's locked up. They probably won't be using they 6. So I said, Lord, could I have they 6? And he said, yeah. So every time acres came up available around that 16, I bought it. And I bought 6 more. And then I went back and I said, well, Lord, you know, all my friends ain't locked up, but some of them just ain't, you know, they just ain't nothing. You know, they don't want nothing. They ain't trying. Could I have they 6? So he gave me they 6. And so then I was doing a show one time on HBO. A friend of mine, he's an atheist. He don't believe in God. He got a late night show. And he asked me to do the show, and I thought I was going to be on there telling jokes. But come to find out, he was doing a show on atheism. And I turned him down. I said, I don't want to talk. He said, man, why don't you come and talk? You're a man of faith. I said, well, I don't like arguing with people who don't believe in God. You don't believe in God, I think you a fool. And I'm pretty sure since I believe in God, you think I'm a fool. And I don't think two fools ought to be standing around talking. Let's just end that. He said, man, come on and do the show. So we did the show. I hated it. But after the show, I counted all them atheists. And it was 6 of them. So I asked God, could I had a 6? Because I know good and well, they ain't going to ask him for nothing. Cool. So he gave me they 6. Next thing you know, I had 270 acres of land. Now let me tell you something. I'm so busy now, I don't even get to go. And I thought I was saving my kids' rest of life. God had no. That's the ranch that I have my mentor camp. I bring 1,000 black boys out there with 1,000 single mothers, and that was the purpose of that ranch. I never go there to fish at all. But see, that's what I wanted. I thought that's what it was for. But God got another plan. His way is way bigger than yours. You can't even see his way. But you got to start the hustle.
Hi, welcome back to Mind Control.
You know, everybody got the same story. We just got different details. But like I always say, life is 10% what happens to you, is 90% what you do about it. So the first step is getting completely and brutally honest enough to say, I am tired of myself. When you say I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, that's the facilitator of change. That's when you're ready to say these words, no more excuses. No more excuses. I went to Kent State, I dropped out. I didn't drop out, I flunked out. Now that threw my life into a spiral, but because I didn't have a college degree, I could not let that stop me. And like you're doing, where you're saying, all my friends at this age are settling in your careers, you don't even know if they're happy or not. Stop comparing yourself to others. So the first thing you do is stop focusing on other people. Instead, focus on being the best version of you that you can. Then you'll recognize that you deserve to sit at the big table with everybody else after you become the best that you can be. Now, once you've accepted that you have as much right to success and much right to succeed as anybody else, the next step is learning how to talk the talk. You have to get fluent in the language of success so you speak it with ease. Surround yourself with people who've accomplished their dreams and immerse yourself in the culture of achievement.
The notion that we are not enough is a lie. And I think more young people need to know that like when you have that thought that you're not enough, that's based on a lie that somebody said to you or a lie that somebody did to you. Like somebody said or did something to you to make you feel like you're not enough. And that's not true. That you are everything that you need to be, that you have everything that you need to have to be the person that you're meant to be and to be the best version of who you're meant to be. It may mean that you have to work really hard, and it may mean that you have to ask for help, but you are perfectly blessed. You know, you are exactly who you're supposed to be joyful in this life. So don't be afraid to work hard, and don't be afraid to ask for help so you can get there, because that's your truth.
Your number one job is to become more of yourself and to grow yourself into the best of yourself.
You can always better your best. You can always go beyond anything that you have ever done. You never hit a state of perfection. You're always bigger than what you do. And so all you're looking for are new breakthroughs through practice and practice and practice. You'll get better and better and better. And there's still some things that will happen to you that will catch you on the blind side that you did not anticipate. You'll get knocked down, but you won't be knocked out. You'll be able to get to your feet again, be on the ropes. But you'll have a fast recovery rate when you work on yourself.
Hard work matters. Why does hard work matter? Well, hard work matters strategic because if you make more phone calls, you do the old adage, right? Show up earlier than everybody else, leave later. But there's something more deep about that. Yes, making more phone calls, seeing more people, being more active, being busier, putting in more hours into something always gives you a strategic chance to be more successful. It's because you've increased your odds. You've talked to more people. You're more likely to get more prospects. You're more likely to get more clients or recruits or candidates for your business. So yes, strategically that increases your chances. But something powerful happens when you do things other people aren't willing to do. You begin to believe you deserve to have things other people won't have. And that's what gets you a seat at the table of success. Now once you're there, it's a dogfight. It's a dogfight of skills and talents and luck and faith and circumstance and blessing and all that stuff. But to get to the table, to get into the room, you have to believe you deserve to be there. And so again, I want to say this to you. The hard work part plays into shifting your identity. That over time, not even that long a period of time, when you're doing the things others are unwilling to do, you begin quietly to begin to believe that, oh, I deserve to be rewarded in ways these other people aren't going to be rewarded because I'm doing the things others won't do. And so the fastest way to change your identity, to change our belief, is just to flat get to work, to flat get there earlier, to flat leave later, to just make more calls, see more people, be more relentless, just pour ourselves into the work. Because actually the hard work can in reverse impact our identity. And that's what begins to happen. When you start to do those things they won't do, you begin quietly to change your belief. That you begin to believe, oh, I deserve to sit at the table with these other people who do the things other people aren't willing to do.
All right, now, here's what I want to do. I want to share with you how you can begin to make this your decade. How many of you know within yourself, if you ask yourself the question, have I done all that I'm capable of doing or being and living up to my potential? How many of you have to really answer, no, I have not done all that I can do? Raise your hands, please. Okay, very good. Now, here's what we know. That people don't do what they know in life, but what they do is they operate within the context of the vision they have of themselves. So what I want to share with you is how to begin to get a larger vision of yourself and how to begin to make this your decade. Because in order to do that, it's going to be very challenging. It's going to require a lot of work on your part, an ongoing process of personal and professional self-mastery. And it's going to require that you begin to see yourself worthy of the requirements in terms of effort, in terms of commitment, in terms of action, in terms of preparation, or whatever it is that you need to do in order to take your life where you want to take it. So one of the first things that I ask you to do is I want you to look at your life right now and think about something that's important to you, something that gives your life a sense of value. Think about something that you'd like to have, or something you'd like to create for you or your family or for society. I want you to hold this thought in mind. Now, one of the first things I want you to do is don't worry about the inner conversation that you're going to have. Don't worry about how you're going to do it. That's going to come. You're going to develop a plan of action. You will find the way. You'll become the kind of person that can attract the people, the resources, and everything you need in order to make that become reality. I was born in Liberty City on a floor on 62nd Street, a twin brother and me. When we were 6 weeks of age, we were adopted. When I was in 5th grade, I was identified as EMR, labeled educable mentally retarded, and put back from the 5th grade into the 4th grade and stayed in that category until I got out of high school. I have no college training, but here's what happened. I had an intervention in my life. A man who saw something in me at a time that I did not see something in myself. I never forget being in his class one day waiting on a friend of mine who was there to rehearse for a play. He did not show up. And he asked me to go up to the board and write something on the board. And I said, I can't do that, sir. He said, why not? I said, well, I'm in a special education class. He said, what do you mean? I said, go up to the board and write what I'm about to tell you. I said, I can't do that, sir. Why not? I'm educable mentally retarded. And he came from behind his desk. He said, don't ever say that again. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. And that changed my life. It was Oliver Wendell Holmes who said that once a person's mind is expanded with an idea or a concept, it can never be satisfied to going back to where it was. So some of you are going to experience a breakthrough. Some of you are going to go back and look at your dreams and brush them off. Some of you are going to begin to look at yourself and say, hey, look here, I know I have not done all that I can do. Whatever goal that you have in mind, I want that to be a goal that will challenge you, something that will make you stretch. It was Osborne who said, unless you attempt to do something beyond that which you've already mastered, you will never grow. What is it that you looked at some point in time and you decided that you couldn't do it, that you talked yourself out of it? Whatever it is, bring it back out there. How you're going to do it, that will come to you in due time. So you don't get in life what you want, ladies and gentlemen. You get in life what you are, not what you want. And see, the good news is that we can always become more by working to develop ourselves. So the first process of making this your decade, you've got to begin to take a look at your life and look at where are you right now? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What gives your life a sense of fulfillment, a sense of joy? What does a full, rich life means to you? What is it that you could love doing 7 days a week that'll bring a smile to your face? Think about that. In all the areas of your life, your professional life, your personal life, your family life, your spiritual life, what is it that you'd like to have? Once you begin to determine that, that takes you to the next step. And that is, once you decide what it is that you want, now you've got to decide that you deserve that. Repeat after me, please. I deserve the best that life has to offer. I deserve to find my purpose in life.
Thank you so much for watching till the end. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section. Please also like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends and families. Please watch our other motivational videos. Thank you again.
A long time ago, I was with a friend of mine, and his grandmother was in the hospital dying, and he wanted me to take her to go see her. I was young, and she was dying. She had terminal illness. She knew she was dying. She asked her grandson to come see him, so I took him. We go in the hospital room, and, she was in. So I was standing behind him. We was at her bed. She said to him, she said, "Do you know your great-grandfather's name?" My boy said, "No, Mom, dear, I don't know his name." She said, "You know why you don't know his name?" He said, "Why, Mom, dear?" She said, "Because he ain't leave you nothing." She said, "When you walk away from my bed, you ain't gonna see me no." She said, "Go live your life so your children's grandchildren will know your name. Live a life where your children's grandchildren will know who you was, man. That they know your name. But they ain't gonna know your name if you wasn't great. They ain't gonna know your name if you don't leave them something. You cannot leave your family, your job." My mom and dad, as great as they was, they left me empty-handed. But boy, the church she put in me, the God she put in me, my father instilled in me manhood. Do what you say you're gonna do. Them two things from that Sunday school teacher and that coal miner shaped and formed who you standing in front of today. This who in front of you. Somebody, but that lesson that grandmother taught that dude, it wasn't for him. It was for me. See, God just sent me there that day, but I needed to hear that. And ever since then, I've been trying to make my life so my children's grandchildren will know who I was when I leave this earth. That's what you gotta do. You ain't gotta clap for me. I don't really care. Look, man, I'm gonna teach you 4 things real quick. Now, people told me one time, said, "Steve, you missed your calling. You should have been a preacher." No, I cuss way too much. I'm the last person need to be in a pulpit. I promised Dr. Boyd I wasn't gonna cuss today. Now, I wanted to 3 times already, but I haven't, because Dr. Boyd said this is a dignified event. So I'm just going to honor that. Me personally, I don't see nothing wrong with cussing. Somebody said, "But Steve, his kids in here." All your kids done heard cussing. And if they haven't, I recommend you start, because it cuts back on butt whippings. Lesson 1 is live your life so your children's grandchildren will know who you are. Go be great, y'all. Take this degree and make it more than just a piece of paper hanging on the wall. Take this degree and go change some lives with it. Make it put pressure on yourself. Go out there and ask God to help make you great. Don't go be regular. I don't really care for regular. I never really wanted a regular life. I wanted an extraordinary life. I've been asking God for this my whole life. Now what he gave me is grace, way more than I ever asked for. I ain't never thought I'd be. Look, I already know y'all could have had a bigger star come down here. Somebody with a bigger name could have. No, you couldn't. No, you couldn't. No. I don't even know why I said that. I tried to be humble, but let's quit fronting. You know good and well, I'm all that in a bag of chips. I'm Steve Harvey, man. Dr. Phil don't even know where your school at. Ellen thought ASU was Arizona State. Y'all got who wanna be here. I come down here, man, because I wanna come down here. Look, and bottom line, it's a lot. It's a diverse people in here. But can I tell you something? I love black people. I love black people my entire life. I ain't never shunned away from the fact that I was black. I starred on BET. I still go on BET. I know where it come from. Black people made me famous first. I crossed over, but my crossover was different. I built a bridge, and I let everybody come over here see how I am. But I didn't get on the bridge and go over there. Because see, when the bridge burned down, you got to be able to get back home. I never left home. So I've been this here the whole time. That's no disrespect to anybody sitting in here. I just got to talk real with you. Now, if you didn't want real, you should have had somebody else come down here. But this is the truth of the matter. Now, second thing I want to teach you. I want you to learn how to fail and win anyway. You got to learn this one now. I want you to learn how to fail and win anyway. Because this is what you're going to have to do. Because let me tell you something. As successful as you've been up to this point, once again, I congratulate you to the fullest. But let me tell you something. You about to get to fail. Because you finna taste life like it really is.
Bill Bailey and I have been involved in other enterprises. But the enterprise, fortunately was successful. And we had a chance to affect a lot of other people's lives. But guess what happened over those years, and which continues to today? We continue to invest in each other. I come up with a great idea, I get on the phone, I call him. He comes up with a book he's read, just said, "This is a masterpiece, you've got to read it." So we have this chance to invest each other. And while we walk the farm country of Kentucky, we invest in each other. We walk the beaches of California, and he has a habit of grabbing your arm when you're walking and talking. So he would grab my arm until this one would get sore, and then we'd trade places so he could, grab the other arm for a while we're walking and talking. But a chance to contribute to each other. And what I share with him, he shares with others. And what he shares with me, I share with you and others around the world. That contribution of sharing with each other, being influential, leadership, making a contribution to someone's life that no telling how far it may go from the time it starts. Friendship is, it's one of the most valuable possessions in the world. Good friends, relationships. What really matters when we all get right down to it is that inner circle. When we should spend as much time as possible, maximum time, maybe borrow a little from other things that aren't quite that valuable, that are essential but not quite that valuable, and spend more time, family, inner circle, close friends. Because that's where a lot of the drive and ambition to do well comes from. Making dreams come true for that inner circle, you and them, furnishes the fuel for high ambition. Not to be ambitious just for the name or for the fame or for the money or for the useful things you can do like generosity for the future, but at least to do as much as you can to nourish that association and communication, inner circle. Conversations in art, whether it's with a child or whether it's with husband and wife or friends. Used to be years ago, we wrote letters that only got sent or, received once in a while. Now we just jump on the phone and talk. But back then, people seemed to take thoughtful care about putting into words how they really felt. And it's easy to be a bit too casual and not put as much how you really care into language, especially when we're talking all day long and all day long. It's hard to be that unique when we really would like to be unique, say something extraordinary about how we feel, but it gets lost in sort of the mundane, ordinary conversation rather than taking the time to say something unique about how you care and about how you feel. When Judy, my wife, and I, when we parted ways, there's a chance to be, it's one expression called born again or reborn. We have a father for the first time as well as a new baby. We have a new father. So it's the new baby's life to work out. Now it's also the new father's life. And probably as a father, best instruction would be to study and practice and work hard at seeing if you couldn't be a Class A father. If it's the mother's first time, we have a brand new baby but a brand new mother. Now that she has a chance to live a brand new life, different life experience than ever before, shouldn't she study and practice and learn and listen, try to find ways to become a Class A mother? About 16 years ago, I became a grandfather, and I have practiced diligently now the last 16 years of being a 5-star grandfather to my 2 grandchildren, Nathaniel and Natalie. They're exceptional, highly talented. I just published a book of my granddaughter's poems that she wrote when she was 12, and the art illustration by her brother Nathaniel. I Love What I See is the title, by Natalie Pangrazio. Now she's 15, and she's written now a collection of 10 stories for children. And her brother, Nathaniel, is an accomplished classical pianist. He writes music, sends it off for competition. These are talented kids, artists and writers and musicians at such a young age. So what I've done is try to specialize, helping my granddaughter publish this book when she was, 14. The poem she wrote when she was 12. It's really good. I've got to read you something. I told you about my granddaughter, Natalie. She wrote these poems, and we're publishing them, and here's one when she was 12. It's called Metaphors of Flowers. From those whose imaginations love to take flight, they will use even a flower to determine wrong from right. An iris is like wisdom, the deep color like the depth of knowledge, and the yellow like the bright ideas one receives. The knowledge spreads upwards, as do the iris's leaves. A lily is simplicity like the whiteness of its flower, but in simplicity there is beauty, like the yellow stamen's tower. Truth is like a dandelion, which is bold and has not sinned, and truth is spread far and wide, like dandelion seeds upon the wind. They soon find a place to rest and grow in someone's heart, and the cycle begins again, just as it did start. A daisy is like happiness and spreads its face to the sun. It loves everything around it, and in everything finds fun. Hate is like a thistle, which is awful
and sharp to the touch. It combines envy, anger, and most of all, disgust. And finally, best of all, love represents a rose. Love is sweet to your heart as a rose is to your nose. Love combines trust, hope, faith, and integrity. There are good paths and bad paths, and no matter which one you chose, love is just as sweet as the loveliest rose. My granddaughter.